Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. Joyce, we're back again for the Golden Globes.
It's perfect because we're recording this on Wednesday the 3rd
Mhm.
and voting closes today for the
It's perfect.
Globes.
That's great.
So, what
Uh,
did they pick?
I don't know. We'll find out. We have our own predictions here. We're going to do film and TV, and then we'll do emails. We did our creative arts Emmys picks yesterday. What a barn burner. Can't wait for that.
And then you'll make a bunch of changes before the Emmys
No, I'm
next
not. I'm
week,
not.
even
I'm
though you
telling
said
you.
you're not going to.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So we'll start with film choice. The Golden Globes are Sunday night. They're back. They're on CBS and Paramount Plus after a Week 18 NFL slate. Can't wait.
Well, it's opposite the Bills and Dolphins game.
The biggest game of the weekend.
Yeah, for the AFC East title.
I'm
So,
all in on the Bills, Joyce. I'm loving the
are you gonna
momentum.
do like double screen for the
No,
game?
I don't watch football. I watch everything on my phone. I just look at the highlights. And I'm not really I won my fantasy football league, Joyce, so
Oh, good.
congrats to
Congrats.
me. And I'm not gonna FanDuel that game probably, but I do like the Bills a lot. I think the Dolphins they peaked way too early.
Yeah. I like the Bills and I wouldn't say like I root for them, but I'm not like upset when they're
No,
successful.
no, same. Uh we're not going to talk about sports yet. We have emails later that are sports related. I feel bad for whoever emailed us yesterday and was like, stop talking about sports.
Oh, that was David. Sorry to
David,
David.
sorry, buddy. We're
We
still
love
working
sports.
on the merch, though. Anyway, Golden Globes picks, Joyce. Here we go. Film drama. We're just going to start right at the top and go into it. These were the nominees, in case you forgot, which I doubt you did. Oppenheimer, Flower Moon, Maestro, Past Lives, Anatomy of a Fall, and Zone of Interest. And Joyce, you'll be shocked to know I have Oppenheimer winning.
I think almost everyone does.
If it doesn't win, would that rank as the biggest Golden Globes upset ever?
No, I mean like they've had like big upsets
Hmm.
before, but I think it would be pretty surprising. Like I don't think any I mean I have Killers of the Flower Moon in second. Like I don't think that would be like a wild upset if it were to win, but I don't expect it to win. I expect it to be a big Barbenheimer night.
I did for a minute, but now I'm sort of changed my tune. I will say 3 of the last 4 years, the Globes winners did not go on to win Best Picture in either
I
category.
mean, a lot of them have not.
So
So
maybe Oppenheimer
they
would
have
break
two
that,
chances though. They have
and
drama and comedy.
they still messed it like 3 of the last 4 years. So I'm just saying, like, I guess it's possible Oppenheimer would win and would still win Best Picture, or it won't win Best Picture even if it wins here. But I would just be shocked if Flower Moon won, frankly.
Yeah, so Nomadland was the last one to
Yes,
win here and that swept everything.
and it was a COVID year, which
So
maybe is a little asterisk.
um yeah. I mean, look, they gave it to Moonlight.
Yeah. I mean, I think Oppenheimer would make a lot of sense to win. It just seems like there's no reason it wouldn't win. I do have Flower Moon in second, and I put Anatomy of a Fall in third.
Um, I have Past Lives
Another
in
good
third.
option.
Yeah.
Best film drama actress choice. The nominees are Lily Gladstone for Flower Moon, Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Greta Lee for Past Lives, Annette Bening for Naiad, and Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla. And I have Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Same. I think it's really between her and Sandra.
I have Sandra in second. Lily Gladstone, I think, has won like 40 awards. I saw something crazy like that.
Sure.
And
Who's counting? Not Metacritic anymore.
not Metacritic, no, but film updates maybe or discussing film. One of those engagements.
Apple is also very happy to tweet whatever random critics award she's nominated
Sure.
for or wins. So
I'll say this. I think we can say I've said after the Gotham Awards, I was like, she's absolutely winning Best Actress. She like her speeches have been when she's been able to give them have been great, at least in like little like Gotham Awards specifically. I'm like, here, televised event, she's gonna like go nuts here, and I think win. It'll be a great moment.
yeah, everyone is just very like eager
Yeah,
to just support her.
yeah, and
And
she's
I think
great.
that's just what it's coming down to. It doesn't like nothing else matters. It's not even about the forms anymore. And like obviously she's great in the film, but it's not even about that.
Not anymore. Now it's about her and her performance and supporting her, right? And I feel like yeah, like I'm just very excited to see her give a speech. I feel like that will be one of the most discussed moments of the night on Sunday night. Will be her speech.
And I feel like now with the bigger membership, because they have 300 people, it like that it's just easier to build consensus. So I feel like Sandra would have an easier chance with the old like 90 membership when it's
True.
just easier. Like you need fewer votes to pull off an
Mhm.
upset.
For best
But
film,
I mean, it'll be great if she won because there's like, you know, like she's not been doing that great, like critically, because everyone just feels like, you know, propelled to like back Lily a lot mostly. And then like Emma has a couple wins and Sandra really hasn't won that much. And I feel like she kind of really needs that like critical back. And like she won LA in a tie with Emma, but that's like really mostly it. Like not a lot of regionals. And she's not like a huge European name that Americans would know,
no.
you know? So I feel like she needed more support on the critic circuit too.
I think what helps is that like we said this yesterday talking about like that IndieWire list of film like favorite films from filmmakers, and
The
Anatomy
most
of Fall
popular film on the list.
was the most popular film on the list. And I think the fact that it is, and the fact that people are like, I love that lady in Anatomy of a Fall. That's I've seen that. Like the lady in Anatomy of a Fall is great. And I'm just like, I think that's enough. I think
Yeah,
she could
but
still
like
win.
but like I'm talking about win. So
Win is different. I don't know about win, but I definitely think
like
she
I've
deserves to
always
win.
had her in for the nomination
Yeah.
for the Oscar. So, but I definitely felt like she could have, should have won more by now.
Yeah. I think
So
that's fair. For best film drama actor choice, this one may be contentious. I actually don't know what you have. I have the nominees are Bradley Cooper, Cillian Murphy, Leonardo DiCaprio, Colman Domingo, Andrew Scott, and Barry Keoghan, and I have Bradley Cooper still winning here for Maestro.
I still have him too. I've thought about switching to Killian. Um, I don't know if I will do that before Sunday,
I'm gonna
but
I'm gonna stick with Brad.
I think Bradley can still win here. Um, and he may or may not win the Oscar.
I'm less convinced now that he'll win the Oscar than I was.
Yeah, like I can see him winning this, and maybe, you know, Critics' Choice will rubber stamp him a week
Maybe.
later. But now like with Maestro being out to the public, I actually feel like he uh has a greater shot of losing SAG, even though it seems like such a SAG.
Hmm.
I won't even say SAG friendly anymore, but like baity performance.
I
But with
Yeah.
people just kind of being really cold on Maestro, I feel like he can lose that support with SAG. So I could see like Paul
Hmm.
or Killian winning there,
Yes.
and then like Killian winning BAFTA or something.
Yes. And then Paul winning at the Oscars. If Bradley doesn't, I'll say this: I have him winning here. I think he will win. It feels like a very Globesy moment to have him win. If he does not win, I would be like really like tugging at my collar here in terms of where he's going to land. Obviously, he's still get nominated, but
If he doesn't win the Globe, then yeah, like that's like big trouble. I mean,
big
you
trouble.
know, we've been through this before with him with A Star Is Born. So but I think like with Rami Malek, it was less surprising that he lost that to him because like everyone knew by then that people love Bohemian Rhapsody
Right,
and that performance. It was more that of like Bo Rap winning film over A Star Is Born.
right.
Um, but I mean that also just kind of foreshadowed how weak A Star Is Born was going to be outside of Shallow too.
Hmm. Yep.
So I mean, and they've proven before the Globes that they have no problem nominating Bradley Cooper for actor and director and not giving him an award that night.
I mean, I do think Killian could win, and if he won on Sunday night, I would not be shocked. And then, but I do think if Bradley doesn't win, it's not a good sign. If
How do you
Killian
think
doesn't
like the
win, it's
rest of the season would shape up, like depending on how if either of them wins? Like if Killian wins on Sunday, I can see Bradley not winning anything
if
for the
Killian wins
rest of
on
the season.
Sunday, I don't think Bradley win anything. I think if Killian, if Bradley wins on Sunday, I still don't know if Bradley wins anything else because I think you're right that like I think SAG is going to end up being Paul or Killian because Paul is in the most likable movie, and it's like people just love that movie and they love him and they love the performance. And Killian is in the biggest movie and is great, but it's not really emotional. So even though it is kind of emotional, but it's more
I mean, I would
subtle.
say I mean, you feel more of an
I
attachment
do.
to Oppenheimer than you do to Leonard Bernstein. And I
Oh,
think if you told
definitely.
people about that, they would agree too. Like
Definitely. I mean,
regular
in terms of,
people.
I meant Killian in terms of like Killian versus
No,
Paul.
it's not like obviously Beatty. He's
Right.
not like chewing the scenery.
And then BAFTA, I think, could be Killian or like Andrew. They could go left field and do Andrew Scott or something, you know. And then like Bradley doesn't even win. And I'm like I said, I'm now not convinced Maestro even makes it in his best picture. So
Because you dropped it from Best Picture if no one listened to our
right,
episode yesterday. So
always a reactionary. I dropped it, but actually not only because of the people on Twitter mad about the movie, because I actually think the movie's pretty good. But like we were
no,
saying,
I don't think it's that. It's like it's the
passion.
overall like reaction, the audience reaction to it too.
And the passion is just like we said, like who is gonna, like I could see the reason I dropped it was like I was like the bottom of the, in theory, the bottom of the best picture race at the Oscars is like some combination of Anatomy of a Fall, maybe Past Lives in there, Zone of Interest, Color Purple, and maybe Maestro now, right? Those five for like 3 spots or 4 spots. And I
Well,
was
May,
like,
December,
and
and
May December too. And I'm like, all of those, I just don't know how many number ones is made Maestro going to get compared to like Color Purple. You know what I mean? Like people who love Color Purple are going to be behind it. And Maestro, I feel like, is like a 3, 4, 5 movie, 6, 7, 8 movie.
well, like I said, I don't really know anyone who's seen that movie, who has called it their favorite movie of the year, even when they've liked it.
Yes, we went through. Look, our
So,
pal Jordan Hoffman loved it. Still second best movie of the year behind Holdovers. Anyway, hopefully Bradley wins because I want him to win something for Maestro, and I think he's good in it. So I know that is now a controversial take. I don't know. I think he's good in the movie.
well, okay, so how about this though? Like again, the bigger voting body, 300 people. We know like they're already international. Killian's Irish.
Killing could win very easily.
Yeah, I the other thing is like I have Oppenheimer winning 4 awards. So if I add Killian, that's 5,
You're kind of
which
convincing
is
me
a
to
lot
add
for the
it.
Globes.
I just feel like in terms of like the heavy, like it's a different group now. It's the Golden Globes, not Hollywood Foreign Press, and there are more members. But I'm like, I don't
Which
know.
yeah, because like it's still the bigger movie, and I mean it's not like the international reception to Maestro was like that much better to
Right.
the like it premiered at Venice. It didn't win anything there.
And the
So
response in Venice was muted, if you remember.
yeah, if like it got a better reception, obviously, when it premiered here in New York.
And how much of that was the fact that it was like the most perfect way to premiere the movie
You mean at New York? Yeah, because this is like
in the hall in the
yeah,
whatever it's
like that's
called,
like where like he was born basically.
and
Like
with
his
like the pristine sound and like the great image. It was like the
oh my God,
greatest
how many
way
times
to
did it
see
say
it.
Dolby Atmos?
A lot of Dolby Atmos. Best Dolby Atmos would definitely be Maestro.
Yeah.
Uh,
So um yeah, and then like I like yeah, Oppenheimer's the bigger movie, so like that could just be consensus. And I don't know, like do you think they were influenced at all by any of the film Twitter
no,
stuff
that doesn't
the
matter. I
past
don't
week?
think that
I
matters.
don't think so either, because
I
I
think
think because like voting also started like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago by now.
I also
So
don't think it matters, but I also think like you're saying it doesn't need to matter because I think if you're watching the movie, you might be underwhelmed by it,
yes.
Maestro. Or even if you're not underwhelmed by it, you might just be like, it's like my take again is like it's exactly the movie that he wanted to make at the highest level that he wanted to make it, but it's not necessarily a movie that I find I love.
Yeah.
Like it's a
Um
success. It's definitely a success. It's a well executed
it
movie.
has, yeah, like a lot of successful elements, but I just I feel like the script is the weak point, and it doesn't like narratively it doesn't really work that well, and there's like he hits a lot of points, but there's also not a lot of depth to what he wants to cover, like even the marriage, like I feel like he centers Felicia, but we really don't get a ton of insight into like Felicia's like career and like what she's given up for him, because all of a sudden like the fight really feels like it comes out of nowhere.
I, and funny thing is like a lot of people, like a lot of like media people, gave Netflix shit because it was like when he was going around being like, it's not a biopic, right? Remember that was like the big thing in the
Oh yeah,
beginning.
I mean, that was just like, I mean, we were joking about that for
And
months.
the
So.
fact is, I understand why they wanted to do that because I think people, especially like normies or like, if you're just popping on a Leonard Bernstein movie, you're expecting like a Leonard Bernstein
Yeah.
biography. And like it's not that. And I think that's another issue with the expectations of the movie where people like normies who are going to watch a movie are like Oppenheimer is a great movie, obviously. My favorite movie of the whole year, but it is straight down the middle, like biography of Oppenheimer, right? Like it's like you understand, like it's like it's like a, it's like
Well,
basically
I
like
think it's
reading.
also more like with Oppenheimer, it's still not a traditional biopic, but I think there's more of a traditional like character arc
Yes,
with
that's what I
Oppenheimer
would
that you
say.
do not get with Bernstein because I feel like in Maestro, like he's just like his character is just really like static throughout because you don't get the rags to riches
Right.
really because you're just you in the beginning he gets the call for his big break and you don't even see it. Like it skips over that and then you're just told it's successful. And then and then you don't see any of his process of working, right? We talked about this like after we saw it. Like there's a very brief scene of him writing mass and that's it. Like you don't see him composing West Side Story or anything. And then like later on it's just a big conducting scene.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so I think that's what kind of makes it hard for people to connect to too because we don't see any of that and then you don't really get a lot of depth into the relationship with Felicia either because it's like they just meet and it's like very brief that courtship that is shown and then like in real life they split up for 5 years before she went back to him
Mhm.
which I feel like adds a lot of context to that
Mhm.
relationship. So, and we don't get it in the film. Yeah, so I think that's kind of what's lacking with the audience connection to the character.
Mhm.
Like you get more of an arc with Felicia because she gets sick at the end and dies. So,
Somebody's going to
but
yell at us about that in the comments.
it's real life. Real life is not a spoiler.
Let's do best film comedy musical at the Globes choice. The nominees are Barbie, Poor Things, American Fiction, Holdovers, May December, and Air. No Color Purple, as we've discussed. A shocking omission based on the group. I had Barbie here from the beginning, but I actually switched to Poor Things. I just feel like that's what's going to win here.
I've thought about it. I still have Barbie.
I was trying to think ahead, and I'm like, the headlines of Barbenheimer at the Globes like write themselves, right? And like, you kind of just expect that to happen because like it's the best TV. That would be the best TV. That sets up the season the best. And I know it's not rigged at all, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of like what people want, I think if you're voting, you want to have like that's like a cool thing to vote for. But I actually think Poor Things is going to win because I just think that in a small group like this, I actually think it may be more of a consensus choice than Barbie, which probably has some more serious detractors.
I mean, it used to be small. Like 300 is pretty big.
I don't think it's that. I mean, it's not as small as
I
big
mean,
as
it's not
it is.
10,000 like the
No,
Oscars, but
no,
it's
it's
bigger
still
than
small.
90.
And I think on 300, I think you would have Poor Things maybe
I mean, Poor Things is
elevated above.
definitely something that looks like right up their alley.
It does.
And I'm actually considering that in another category, not this one.
And other reason I did this is because they gave themselves an out with the box office achievement to still have Barbie win. And I think that helps. I think if you're writing your ballot, right? If you're voting here and you're like, okay, I'm going to vote Oppenheimer or whatever, and I'll vote Emma Stone for Best Actress, which we'll do in a second. And then I know I'm going to vote Barbie for cinematic and box office achievement. It's hard to imagine a better winner than that, as much as I'd love to see Taylor Swift win, which we'll do this later. But I'm like, are you really going to, you don't need to have it win this because it's already going to win that. And I'm like, I think maybe people would be like, I really love Poor Things too. I'm already giving Barbie an ostensible best picture win. Why not have Poor Things win here too? And I could spread the wealth. I'm not sure every voter thinks that way, but they
I
might.
don't think every voter does that. And I don't actually think a lot of voters do that. I think that's um logic that pundits like to apply to justify their predictions when they themselves want to spread the wealth too, especially if it's like something
Yeah, but why wouldn't
you
anybody,
think?
like, of course I want to spread the wealth, but why wouldn't anybody else want to spread? Why do you think like a voter wouldn't want to spread the wealth? I get the
Because
sense that
I
they
do
would.
think ultimately you want to vote for what you like the most. And like if you like Barbie, I feel like you would just try to vote for it in whatever category you can, or like in that category if you do actually think it's the best,
I
you
mean,
know?
I personally would pick Barbie, but if I love Poor Things and I love Barbie, which there are people who do, and maybe I
Yeah.
would say Poor Things. I love Poor Things
Yeah,
too.
so
It's
like but I think that would depend on the individual
individual.
person
Yeah,
if
sure.
they like Barbie or Poor Things more. Like maybe they'll have to sit back and think for like 10 minutes,
Right.
like which one do I like more?
How long do you think people spend on voting?
I think like the really like nerdy people spend a long time, but most of them don't spend a lot of time at all.
I think
They're
if I
probably
was a
like
voter,
today, Wednesday, a lot of them are probably just like, oh, they have the reminder emails. It's like, oh shit, gotta log in
I
and
think
do
I
it.
would vote as long as it takes me to click through. That's how fast it would take for me.
Yeah, I also feel like most people they already know what they're gonna vote
Yes.
for
Right.
before they even get their ballots.
I
So
think
then it's just a matter of the formality of logging on and clicking through. And maybe there's like one or two categories you're torn between like, you know, two or three people on or whatever. But I think for the most part, like people generally already know what they're voting for before they actually have to do it. So, but yeah, I like I can definitely see like a couple of Barbie and Poor Things splits. Like that can happen in multiple categories.
so. The funny thing is, I think you're probably alluding to script where Barbie and Poor Things are back to back.
Yes.
And I have Barbie, like, I think the split would be Poor Things film, Barbie script, but you maybe think Barbie film, Poor Things script, which I guess we'll get to when we
And it
get.
could also just be actress too. Like I've seen people saying
Right.
like Margot can win too. So
Anyway, we'll see. Those two, I have American Fiction in third and The Holdovers in fourth. This is a really strong category.
it is, but I would be surprised if either of those won.
I would too. I don't think that's going to happen, but
So
stranger things have happened, though, I guess. Well, you just mentioned Best Actress, Best Film Comedy Musical Actress. The nominees are Emma Stone, Margot Robbie, Fantasia, Natalie Portman, Alma Pozzi for Fallen Leaves, and Jennifer Lawrence for No Hard Feelings. And I have Emma Stone winning for Poor Things.
same.
Emma Stone has not won really, and not won a lot, or not as much as Lily Gladstone, and hasn't done any kind of like I'm giving a speech moments this season. So this would be our first opportunity.
Well, I mean, like most people haven't done a ton either. It's like
True.
what the Gothams.
True.
So, yeah, I think she will win, and I have Margot in second.
Was talking about this with a buddy over the weekend. Is this the greatest with between Poor Things, her performance in Poor Things, and her performance on The Curse? Is this the greatest single year for an actress in our lifetime?
No.
Okay.
I can't even come up with an example, but that's just recency bias.
Okay.
So,
She's great on
um,
both. Like really
but
good.
I mean, she can win both
She might.
awards.
I actually think she
Um,
might, but I don't think so. But we'll see.
no,
Uh she's so
but
good
I
in Poor
don't,
Things.
yeah, yeah, I think she'll just win this. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Margot won,
I
but
guess if we're watching the show and Margot wins, I would be like Barbie is obviously winning Best Picture or
so
Best Film Comedy Musical.
who gets the actual award for the box office
We'll find
category?
out. I don't
I'm
know.
assuming the producer, so she would still get it.
Yeah.
So
And then I have Fantasia in third.
I do too, but I would say like a distant third.
Would be surprising if she won based on how the movie performed.
Yeah, but it's also the only musical performance here. So if they care about that, which I
I
don't
don't
really
think
think
they
they
do.
do.
I don't think they do.
So
Best Film Comedy Musical Actor. The nominees are Paul Giamatti, Jeffrey Wright, Matt Damon, Timothy Chalamet, Nicolas Cage, and Joaquin Phoenix. While I would love to see Timothy Chalamet win for Wonka, Joyce, it should be a serious Best Actor threat at the Oscars. I have Paul Giamatti winning for The Holdovers.
Same. And it'll be his second win here. Because he won for Barney's version. Remember that movie?
Mhm.
So
I feel like I said, I think The Holdovers is actually peaking at the right time. See a lot of warm embrace of the movie.
so my only concern with sticking with him is that the holdovers didn't do that well at the Globes. And it feels like it's not as beloved internationally as it is in the US, which makes sense. Um, and I obviously already have Davine winning and supporting, so I'm like, will it win 2 acting awards?
Yes, but who would win here if not? Like
I mean Jeffrey, I have in second, so
me too. But I'm like, you
but
could
that
say the
also didn't
same.
do that well.
You could say the same. Like the same things apply. I think to the holdovers.
Yeah, but then I guess that's more like if you think like Davine is a lock, then it's like, then they have these like two. I mean, they can also do Timmy, I guess, but it's like they don't love the holdovers as much.
What did
Um,
holdovers miss besides screenplay that you were like that should have been in there?
director
And what did
and
American Fiction miss?
um screenplay.
So
And like holdovers could also had Dominic in supporting actor. He's like no one's touching him anywhere basically, except for like breakthrough awards.
no. So I might have. I might think about him for SAG next week when we do our predictions,
Yeah, I can see like all three of them getting in individually and
and
not
not the movie. And I
ensemble.
absolutely think that will happen. Uh, Matt Damon, I have in third though for Air. I'm gonna move Timmy up to third just
I
because
can't believe you don't have Timmy in
I hadn't
third.
updated it. We're doing this live, Joyce. You know how it is.
I had him in third before um like Wonka even premiered and became a huge
The
box
greatest
office hit.
movie, the greatest movie of the winter. Uh, film supporting actors. This combines comedy and musical and drama. And the nominees are Divine Joy Randolph, Danielle Brooks, Emily Blunt, Julianne Moore, Jodie Foster, and Rosamund Pike. And I have Divine Joy Randolph winning again.
Yes. Um I have Emily in second and Rosamund in third.
I have Danielle in
Former
second.
Globe winners.
I have Danielle in second, Emily in third, Rosamund in fourth.
Uh yeah, I have Danielle in fourth.
Nothing will. Not. I don't see anything that will stop Divine from winning this, but I guess we'll see.
Would you be concerned if she lost this?
Not necessarily.
Me either.
I would be concerned if she lost SAG, but not this.
Yeah. I mean, well, remember last year the Globes gave this to Angela Bassett,
Mhm. And that got
not Jamie
everybody's hopes
Curtis.
up. That got everybody's hopes up that she'd
Yeah.
win.
And that basically just cemented her Oscar nomination.
Right.
Yeah.
For film supporting actor, the nominees are Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Charles Melton, Mark Ruffalo, Robert De Niro, and Willem Dafoe. And I have Robert Downey Jr. winning for Oppenheimer.
Same. I think it's
Well,
just him or Ryan.
I mean, I was this close to Ryan, but I just think
I can see Ryan doing it.
it would make the most sense if he did it.
Okay, so what about this combo? Ryan winning supporting actor and Killian winning drama actor. So it's not double Oppenheimer acting.
Could
So the
happen.
other combo is Bradley and RDJ.
I
I
think
guess you
there's
could
a
also do Bradley and Ryan, but if
I
you're
think
avoiding the Oppie double.
right. I mean, I would not be surprised if Ryan won this at all, but I just think that Downey's going to win. I mean, it would be I don't know. It wouldn't be shocking if Gosling won. If Gosling was in Best Actor in a musical or comedy, would he win over Giamatti?
Um,
Probably, I would say.
I guess you could say yes, just like that would be their favorite film of that group.
Right.
I guess. But I mean, that's what we were all saying about Maria Bakalova when she went lead for Borat. For it
Right.
seemed like an easy win when she was going to be supporting everywhere else, and then they gave it to Rosamund. So, but they love Rosamund.
If Gosling wins, what do you think that means for the rest of the season here? Who would win at SAG?
SAG, I think like either of them could still win at SAG. I think like Critics' Choice would just copy the Globes. And um I I I think RDJ would win the BAFTA though.
And then going to the Oscars, RDJ, BAFTA,
I think RDJ could
SAG.
still win in that scenario if they split. So
I'll stick RDJ here, but again, this is pretty this is very competitive. I would, again, like best actor, I would not be surprised if Gosling won, just like I won't be surprised if Cillian Murphy wins.
how about Charles?
I have him in third. I just don't. I think the early enthusiasm was what got him into the nomination, and that's going to be the reward for his performance.
I also feel like because of that, it's like no longer cool to back him because it's been so normalized. You know
Not
what I
for a
mean?
win. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like it's not exciting anymore because it felt like it was very exciting when, like even though we predicted it, we knew like New York would tap him instead of Ryan because it was like the cooler choice. But now he's like in the mix, so it's not he doesn't feel like as fresh.
Right.
Like Dominic would feel more exciting because he
That
hasn't been
that's
nominated in
that's why I have
places.
Dominic at SAG. I have them both in at SAG. Uh, Film director choice. The nominees are Nolan, Scorsese, Gerwig, Lanthimos, Celine Song, and Bradley Cooper. And I have Christopher Nolan winning.
Who doesn't have him winning?
He's pretty overwhelmingly ahead, but I mean, this is definitely. I'm not counting out Scorsese, even though I don't think Flower Moon will win Best Picture based on their past history with the top filmmakers. They love giving this award to
Because
like,
they gave it to him for Hugo.
yeah. And they gave Spielberg obviously for Fablemans, even though Fablemans also won Best Film. Anyway, I have
Um,
Nolan winning. I think he'll win.
yeah. I think it's just like his time, I guess.
It does feel like
It's
his
like,
time.
and then it's like everything I mean, like he's also been doing really well with critics awards too. Like he's won the majority of them. So it's weird because like I feel like I wouldn't even say like he's a lock, even though I think he's like pretty safe for the Oscar. Just because like he's never won before. But it feels like he does have, you know, industry support, and the movie is just finally like the right mix of his brand and his style and tone and something that is also up like the Academy's alley.
We've talked about this, I'm sure. I mean, I think he's a safer bet to win than the movie is at the Oscars.
Yeah.
I also think he's a safe bet to win because I think actors love Christopher Nolan.
Yes, but like at the Oscars.
Yeah, that's what I mean at the Oscars.
Um yeah, and here I have him and I have Greta in second.
I have Marty in second and Greta in third. I'm like, they love Scorsese. I think they'll just like he would he could win.
I don't think they would like they like him, but I don't it's not like how, like New York likes him.
No, it's not. That's a different level. Come on, New York.
Like
They'll
I don't
nominate
think
him.
they're like we gotta give like Killers of the Flower Moon a bunch of awards.
At New York, they're probably trying to figure out a way to get him an award for the ad he did with Timmy, the Amex ad or whatever it was.
I'm surprised I didn't get a special citation when they announced. So
Great ad. Marty should do a musical with Timmy. They could do New York, and make it good. Because that's not one of my faves. That maybe is his worst movie, I would say. Uh, Best film screenplay, Joyce. Here we maybe diverge then. The nominees are Barbie, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Kills the Flower Moon, and Anatomy of the Fall, and I have Barbie winning.
I currently have Barbie, but I'm debating changing to not just Poor Things, but also Past Lives and Anatomy of a Fall.
They don't always like they often diverge between best film and the screenplay, even when even when the best film winner is nominated here. So it would not be like all of those seem on the table. That's why I have Barbie winning still pretty confidently because I'm like, even though I think Poor Things might win best film, musical or comedy, I still think Barbie could win here.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, because last year was like pretty obvious. They'll just give it to Martin McDonough.
Right.
And then the year before they gave it to Belfast.
Correct.
And then before that was Aaron Sorkin, which also was not surprising because they love him. And then he gave his best director speech,
And then Tarantino,
which also was not surprising because they also
Green
love him.
Book,
And Green Book won. Um,
Three Billboards and Three Billboards won, La La Land,
yeah,
La
I
La
guess
Land
so. Like
won.
that's the argument against Tony McNamara because Green Book beat The Favorite in screenplay.
So
So
a reason for I would maybe the year the more maybe the comp year is 2014 because Birdman won screenplay but did not win musical or comedy.
and Budapest.
Grand
Oh,
Budapest won but was nominated in screenplay. So like Grand Budapest, I mean, I don't know. Horror is another one. That didn't win musical or comedy though? No, American Hustle won, and American Hustle was nominated. So I guess
yeah, Explosion at the Wig Factory. Remember?
that would be your Poor Things comp, I
It was
guess.
also 10 years ago with a completely different
Correct.
membership.
They could easily just rubber stamp Barbie and then Barbie wins, or Poor Things and Poor Things wins.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Barbie is such an overwhelming favorite here.
I think that speaks a lot to like because people love the movie. The normies just are voting for it. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. And I think you're getting inflated. Obviously, not a knock in the
I mean,
movie.
like they're not they're international critics.
Yeah,
They're not like people, like
yeah,
like normie people.
they're like a step above normie.
They're not like, our friends who don't
No,
follow this stuff.
no.
Um, I mean, like Barbie has the most nominations, but three of them are also in one category.
That's gonna be. I think that's gonna throw people off a lot. Is that it always is gonna have the most nominations? Maybe not at the Oscars, but like at the Critics' Choice Awards at 18. It's like in these shows, it's gonna have a ton of nominations because it has multiple songs, which shows that it's still very strong, but like maybe not at like what I mean? Like it's like okay,
Yeah, it's not covering a lot of categories.
right.
Um, I don't know. Should I go to Poor Things or something else?
I mean, that would be funny if you have Poor Things here and Barbie, and I have Barbie and Poor Things. It makes for good.
And then like we're both wrong
We
because
would definitely that's opens the opportunity for everyone to be wrong. So
I don't know, because like sometimes I'm like, should I split it or just pick one and then get them both wrong maybe?
I'm just gonna get them both wrong. I'm gonna stick with Barbie here.
But you have Poor Things in film though.
Yes, which I'm fine with because they split a lot.
They could split the other way,
They
so
could
um I don't know. What should I do?
probably stick with what you have. I wouldn't change it.
Barbie.
I could see you changing it last minute to Poor Things, and then Anatomy of Fall wins, and you're like, damn it.
Because I also have Barbie winning four, I think. Right?
Well, you have song certainly, and probably box office and cinematic achievement.
Yeah. So then I have Oppie and I have Barbenheimer winning 8 total.
I mean, that's the headline that they want, so not inconceivable. That's the headline everyone wants. That's what we all want. We want to wake up and see the Barbenheimer, or in our case, that evening afterwards, sitting here doing this again, see the Barbenheimer headlines. Best animated feature, Joyce. The nominees are Spider-Verse, Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Mario Brothers, Suzume. How do you say that one?
What?
How do you say
Suzume.
that one? How is it?
Suzume?
Suzume
Mhm.
and Wish. Remember Wish?
They voted on that before it opened, basically.
I have Spider-Verse winning.
Um, yeah.
Not much else to say here. I think it's going to win at the Oscars too.
I think Boy and the Heron could win, but I think with again like 300 people,
The biggest
Spider-Verse
consensus
would.
movie.
I mean, the first one won
Yeah.
with just 90 people, so
Best non-English film is how we call it in our odds. Is that what they call it in the actual ceremony? Film not in
they
the English language, I guess.
yeah, that's what they call it. That's what BAFTA also calls it,
Anatomy
which is
of,
more accurate
yeah,
because
true. It's
you
not
know if
necessarily
you're
international.
yeah they if you're in another country where your language is not English, then English is a foreign language to you. You can't call it foreign language.
Anatomy of Fall, Past Lives, Zone of Interest, Fallen Leaves, Society of the Snow, and Io Capitano. And I have Anatomy of Fall winning.
I do too. I could also see Past Lives winning, which would be hilarious.
I have Past Lives in second.
Same.
They obviously liked Past Lives, got a directing nomination, actress nomination. It could easily
That's why
win
I
here.
feel like it went like screenplay too. I'm
It could
like
easily
they
win
liked
here.
it.
But I think as we found, Anatomy of Fall is like such a consensus pick in large groups that it just seems like it would obviously win.
And I can't win the Oscar.
Amazing. For best score, Joyce, the nominees are Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Flower Moon, Spider-Verse, Boy and the Heron, and The Zone of Interest, and I have Oppenheimer.
Yes. I have Poor Things in second.
I have Flower Moon in second and Poor Things in third. Just feels like based on the music that they seem to like, this seems like it would win.
You're not supporting Spider-Verse?
No, I love it so much, but no. I mean, the Oppenheimer score is the best, so I can't. It's my personal favorite and what I think will win. Best song, Barbie, What Was I Made For? Barbie, I'm Just Ken. Barbie, Dance the Night. Mario Brothers, Peaches, Rustin, Road to Freedom. And She Came to Me Addicted to Romance. And I have Barbie, What Was I Made For? Winning, Billie Eilish.
I do too. But I wouldn't be shocked if like I'm Just Ken won.
I have it in second, and I have Peaches in third on the off chance there's a Barbie vote split.
For Peaches.
And then Peaches wins.
I just have all three Barbies in the top three.
That's seemingly what everybody has based on the odds. And again,
I
only
mean,
two of these can get nominated at the Oscars.
yes. And we've talked about like what if Dua Lipa gets in?
Would be great.
I mean, she deserves so a banger.
I saw a headline before that was like Ryan Gosling asking if he would get paid to perform at the Oscars. They at least send a car for you, right? I think is what he said.
I mean, he would get a car anyway as a nominee.
Just gonna get on a limb, not thinking he really wants to do it. Don't think he really wants to do it. So we'll see. Next is the final award for the movies, Joyce. Then we'll go to TV. Cinematic and box office achievement is our favorite new category. When will they give this out in the show?
Last.
Would love it. Love to see
They'll
it.
give up stand-up last on the TV side, and they'll give this out last on the film side.
To recap, the nominees are Barbie, Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, Oppenheimer, Spider-Verse, Mario Brothers, Guardians 3, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, John Wick, Chapter 4. And while I had Taylor Swift here from the jump, I've switched to Barbie.
I have Barbie too. So 4 for Barbie and 4 for Oppie.
I have 3 for Barbie. And 4 for Oppie, I guess. Yeah.
I because this is like, you know, not like a real category, but like for headlines, it's just gonna be like if Barbie wins 4, it's like, oh, I won 4 Golden Globes, just like Oppenheimer.
Right.
Even though it's like really 3.
Right. But it's competing against Oppenheimer in this one.
In a fake category.
In a fake category with unknown metrics, basically, right? What is cinematic achievement versus box office achievement? I mean, I
money,
like that Taylor's
money and
also nominated.
cinema. So
I love that Taylor's nominated. I also don't think she's going to necessarily go.
I think they want her to go.
They do, but the Chiefs maybe need that game. Do they? They're kind of locked in.
They're fine. It's more like, does she want to go?
Yeah, maybe.
So
I
she's been
mean,
there before for her
and
past
she
nomination.
support. I mean, it's her own movie. She supports the like. It's like she's like
Maybe if it's like, like the People's Choice Awards, like if they give you a heads up that you're gonna win,
that would be interesting.
and
I don't
then
know if
she'll
it
get.
is.
But they don't do that at the
No.
Globes. So
Now we're gonna move to TV, and if you don't want to care about this, skip ahead and we'll do emails at the end. But we'll start with TV. We'll go through these pretty quickly, Joyce. Drama series. Nominees are Succession, Last of Us, The Crown, The Morning Show, The Diplomat, and 1923. And I have Succession winning.
again, who doesn't have Succession?
What is there to say? It's just that nothing else.
I mean, I don't know if I want to talk about this now or like later, but I have a lot of the same shows winning a lot of awards, and I'm like, is that going to happen? It's kind of like Barbenheimer on the movie side.
I think it has to happen in the TV because there doesn't really seem like a lot of choice.
I mean, there could be in like one or two categories, but
Maybe. Not in series, though, I don't believe.
no.
Famous last words, but I don't think so. For drama actor, the nominees are Kieran Culkin, Pedro Pascal, Jeremy Strong, Gary Oldman, Brian Cox, and Dominic West. And I have Kieran Culkin winning.
I do too, but is Pedro first in the odds?
Pedro is second in the odds.
Okay, so it's still Kieran.
I have Gary Oldman in second.
I love Gary.
And I could see him winning.
Little Horses renew for season 5.
I really think he could win. But I'd be hard pressed to imagine that Kieran loses.
I feel better about Kieran at the Emmys than I do at the Globes. They've burned him before. He was the first Succession. Oh, well, he was Succession's first nomination ever at the Globes. He's the only actor who's been nominated all 4 seasons, but he hasn't won, and 3 of his co-stars have won in that time span. So it would be hilarious if they don't ever give him a win for the show. But I don't know, I feel like it, like the fact that like Succession did so well with 9 nominations, with this bigger body, I feel like that also kind of helps him because like season 4 was such a great season for him. So maybe it is like finally his chance to win. Because also like usually the Globes, if you don't win on your first time out or like your second nomination, basically, then like they're just done with you. And they're not done with him because he's still nominated. But
like we've been saying this will put to the theory to the test, I guess, is that people love Succession and watch Succession, and then they're voting for it, and they pay attention to what happens on the show. And I think, again, if you have watched the show and care about it, you would know that Kieran is like the top choice. And so he should win based on that.
yeah, and then I think like Pedro, I mean, I have Pedro in second too, but I think Pedro is even more of a popular pick here to win than at the Emmys, because the thinking is that the Globes won't give Succession so many awards.
Right.
I don't think like Brian is winning.
No, I mean, I do think Gary Oldman could win instead of Pedro. I just do.
I love that Gary got in because I really thought about him last year or like Slow Horses first season, because it felt like such a Globes pick for them to do, and they didn't nominate him.
I mean, it's a slow show,
and now it's clear, the category's cleared out.
And they've come around to it. People love this show. It is like a very popular show, obviously.
It's a great show.
Drama actress choice nominees are Sarah Snook, Bella Ramsey, Kerry Russell for The Diplomat, Imelda Staunton for The Crown, Emma Stone for The Curse, and Helen Mirren for 1923. And I have Sarah Snook winning.
Same.
I have Emma
She
Stone in
she
second.
previously won in supporting, so
Seems like she'll win for this. So that's 3 for Succession for me.
which is a lot for the Globes for one thing.
Yes.
I mean, most shows and films max out at 3. So, but
Uh,
I also can't really see anyone else winning here. I don't know.
I mean, I have Emma Stone in second and Bella Ramsey in third.
I have Emma in last.
I think she could win.
I have Bella in second.
Most people have Bella in second. Comedy series, Joyce. The nominees are The Bear. This is for season 2, not
Yeah,
season.
it'll win for season 2 before it wins for anything for season 1 at the Emmys. So
Jury Duty, Only Murders, Abbott Elementary, Ted Lasso, and Barry. And I have The Bear.
yes,
I
I don't
have
know.
jury Duty in second.
Um, I do too, but I don't even know if I feel like it's like a distant second.
Yeah. Speaking of pretty wide margins of victory, presumably, TV comedy actor Jeremy Allen White, Bill Hader, Jason Sudeikis, Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Jason Segel. And I have Jeremy Allen White winning for The Bear season 2 before he has an opportunity to win an Emmy for The Bear season 1.
Back-to-back wins for Jaw.
Mhm.
I have my guy Bill Hader in second. He's not going to win, but again, very distant second.
I think I have Jason in second.
Which Jason?
Sudeikis.
I have the Jasons last. I think probably realistically, Martin Short is in second, but I don't think he's winning. So I'm like, it doesn't matter.
For comedy actress, nominees are Io Debris, Quinta Brunson, Natasha Lyonne, Selena Gomez, Rachel Brosnahan, and Elle Fanning. And I have Io Debris winning for The Bear.
Same. Gonna be great for her to win a Golden Globe for season 2 in lead, and then win an Emmy for season 1 in supporting a week later. So I have Selena in second.
It's awesome. I have Quinta in second. Do you really think Io win the Emmys?
Yeah, I think she can win that. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who do you have at the Emmys?
I think I might have Hannah still, but Waddingham.
That's only because you did
That's right.
the SAG panel,
That's right.
but voting happened in August.
I know. And then TV limited series / movie. The nominees are Beef, Fargo, Daisy Jones, Lessons in Chemistry, Fellow Travelers, and All the Light We Cannot See. And I have Beef winning.
Yes.
And then for limited, we'll just go through these quickly because I have a feeling we're all going to have the same. You and I will have the same ones for limited series actor: Stephen Yeun, John Hamm, Matt Bomer, David Oyelowo, Sam Claflin, and Woody Harrelson getting in. And I have Stephen Yeun winning for Beef.
Yes, Stephen Yeun, no longer star of Thunderbolts.
What's gonna happen? Do you think the rest of the Beef team will still do Thunderbolts? Will that be the next shoe
You
to
think
drop?
they're just staggering their departures?
I mean, I kind of think they do that. Certainly.
Oh yeah, no, it's like I mean that's I'm not saying it's happening with this film, but that's what happens
We'll see.
like behind the scenes when people leave
Yeah.
projects on the DL and they don't get announced right away. And then when things are announced, people think it's happening in real time, and so that's actually happened a while ago.
Which happened with the Scream movies earlier this year with Jenna
Yes.
Ortega and
Yeah, I mean like with Thunderbolts, Marvel has a lot of balls in the air, a lot of changes to make.
yeah.
So I would not be surprised if that gets completely rejiggered and moved again or whatever. So
But congratulations on your Golden Globe before you went.
Yeah, I have John Hamm in second. I guess maybe like Matt Bomer I could see winning too. Well, not winning. Maybe I'll put Matt in second. I don't know.
I mean, I think
Well, like I mean,
good.
Twitter really likes Fellow Travelers.
Yeah, but John Hamm on Fargo is so good.
Well, that's just you. So
That's I mean that's pretty widely accepted. I think people really like this season.
no, but I'm talking about like the the Stan response.
Right. Right.
I don't think it matters though, because Steven's gonna win.
And then for limited series actress, Ali Wong I have Ali Wong winning, but I'm sure you do too. But just the other nominees are Brie Larson, Riley Keough, Juno Temple, Rachel Weisz, and Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
I have Brie
So
and
this is like my dilemma is like I have 3 shows winning the series award and for their leads.
Yep, same. I think that's fine. Those are the
That's
three. I do. Just those are the 3 shows that everybody loved this year or last year. So that's it.
is it?
Can you make a case seriously for anybody? I mean, I think let's ask this. Those 3 series seem pretty much set. It would be a colossal
Yes.
upset if they did not win. Among those 6 actors, who is the most likely to potentially lose? Based on what we just talked
I
about.
think like most people would say drama actor, like a non-Succession guy winning.
Same.
Because there's 3 of them.
So that would be my number one also.
Yeah, like I think Sarah is pretty safe
Same.
there. I think Jeremy is also safe.
Yes.
I mean, I don't like who do you think can really challenge Io?
I don't think anybody could challenge Io. I think I would say you're right about drama actor because we talked about there's other options, including like Pedro Pascal or Gary Oldman or whatever. And there's 3 Succession guys. I think TV, movie, limited series actor also could be a challenge only because I don't know. I could see, like you said, like Matt Bomer or John Hamm. Somebody could win there. That's not Steven. I mean, Steven is still not winning at the Emmys according to our odds. Like it's still Evan Peters, I think, is in first. So it's like that's not as much of a consensus or as Ali Wong on the show, which is funny to me. But
Or what if Allie loses?
I mean, she could to like Brie
Who?
or Brie Larson, I guess. It's like I don't know. It would be surprising. It just would be such a surprise.
I mean, it feels like it's like between TV and film, I basically have all the consensus picks,
Yeah.
right? And they usually throw a curveball somewhere.
Well, here's one of
But
the curveballs I have here in supporting actor. The nominees are Matthew McFadden, James Marsden, Evan Moss-Backrack, Billy Crudup, Alan Ruck, and Alexander Skarsgård, and I have James Marsden winning.
so this is tough because I can see James winning, I could see Evan winning, and Matthew winning.
Those are the top 3 in the odds: Matthew, James, and Evan.
And
I
if I
don't think
do
it's.
Matthew, then I have Succession winning 4.
I think Matthew will win at the Emmys. Obviously, it's not a combined category in the Emmys, so that's easier. I just feel like Marsden is such a perfect Globes winner.
He is. I also feel like Evan is a great Globes winner.
The funny thing is, this
And
would
then that
Evan
would
winning,
be 3 for the Bear.
and this is Evan winning for season 2, which is a leap forward for
Sports.
him for season 1. Um, I
So I
still
don't know what to do because
I have
I
James. I'm gonna have
currently
James.
have Matthew.
Yeah,
This is also his first Globe nomination because they've never nominated him before.
right.
Um, but again, with like 300 people, it's more consensus. So I don't know. Am I going to give Succession 4 Globes?
What's the record?
I mean, like shows have won 4 before, but like it's like, like Angels in America. Although like that's 5. But like a lot of shows have won 4 before. I don't know.
I'm sticking with.
Like
I'm
it
sticking
got
with.
9 nominations.
I know. The other reason is the other reason I think Matthew could lose here would be the same logic you apply if you were going to say like Kieran is going to lose Best Actor, is that he's got actual competition from the show. Because Skarsgård is like, I don't think and Ruck, I guess too, are not like patsies in there. They're like legit. They're formidable. I think contenders. I think if you watch the season, even though I think Matthew's the best, I could see someone be like Skarsgård is like,
That would actually be a very Globes thing to do
yeah,
A scars.
and that would still give Succession 4,
Yeah,
but
just a different person.
it's a different person.
I don't know.
Um,
I guess I'll just keep them
sure.
at 4
I can't wait to see
Succession.
what you change on in the last minute.
I don't know if I would change him because I'm pretty like open to changing a lot of these. Like I mean I'm including film too. Like I basically have the favorites winning in almost all of these kind of.
TV supporting actors, the nominees are Meryl Streep, Elizabeth Debicki, Abby Elliott for The Bear, Hannah Waddingham, Ted Lasso, J. Smith Cameron, Succession, and Christina Ricci for Yellow Jackets, and I have Meryl Streep for Only Murders.
I have Elizabeth, who is like the only part of The Crown season 6 that everyone agrees is great.
I could see her winning. I have her in second. She's second in the odds. Meryl, I thought was so great in Only Murders, so I'm basically biased because I'm picking a fave of my own. But it's possible that she doesn't win, and so there you go. I guess I don't know. I just thought
I
she
mean
was
I
so
love
good.
Meryl in Only Murders. I feel like the Globes love The Crown more than anyone else, you know?
It's a fitting way to
And
honor the show at the end here.
yes, like no one will have any quibbles about Elizabeth Debicki winning for The Crown. And
You're talking me into changing right now on the fly.
like, season 6, like not the best one, like a little bit
Better,
better than season 5.
better than 5.
And she's the best part of season 6. And then she had her mini showcase
Mm-hmm.
in part 1. So I feel like she can do it. And in that the combined category again, favors dramatic performances, not comedy performances. So I don't know. But if Meryl wins, it'll be her 9th Globe. What if Smith Cameron wins?
I mean that would just show that Succession is like going to steamroll. I guess I'm going to put Elizabeth. I think what you're saying is true, and I could see her winning for the crown. So I'll put her in first. Meryl will have opportunities to win it at the Emmys.
Now that Io has vacated the category.
Yes. And then finally here, our last pick, TV comedy, stand-up comedy performance. The nominees are Chris Rock, Trevor Noah, Ricky Gervais, Wanda Sykes, Sarah Silverman, and Amy Schumer. And I have Chris Rock winning with Ricky Gervais in second.
I have Ricky. I've not seen any of these, so I have like no take on any of them.
I've only seen the Chris Rock one.
So that's why you're picking it.
Well, it's also first in the odds. But a little bit, that's why I'm picking it. I didn't even think it was great. It's like I said, it's not my favorite Chris Rock one.
I just picked Ricky because he's a former host. That's it.
It seems like if it was the old Globes, he would obviously win, but he would win and then go up and do an acceptance speech and roast them for being terrible. That old gag.
I have Trevor in second.
I have Trevor in third. The top 3 in the odds are Chris Rock, Trevor Noah, and Ricky Gervais. I'll be curious to see when they give this out on the show too.
I told you last of the TV categories. It's the most important one.
And those are our Globes picks. I'm excited, Joyce. So we'll see. I feel like I'm going to get a lot wrong. I'm staring down the barrel of a 50% accuracy here.
I want to get things wrong because I feel like they shouldn't be predictable.
We do love that.
Because it's boring if it's easy to guess what they will be. So
Joyce, we got some emails to do before we say goodbye. Let's see. I'm starting with this one from our pal Uri. It's actually kind of it references and not indirectly references an email we read yesterday from Alex, I believe. Uri couldn't have known though.
well, yeah, he couldn't have known because that as we're recording this, did that
Yes,
even the episode come out yet? Yeah.
it's out, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but like, yeah, Uri couldn't have known.
Anyway, or emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com, and you can too. But here's what he said: Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's been a while since I mailed you, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. I just have a couple of quick questions. I'll keep them short. First of all, do you think the okay box office performance will impact the Color Purple chances at Best Picture? Did it need the big success narrative to solidify itself? We mentioned this yesterday. It was
I
a
think I
huge,
literally talked about this yesterday.
you did.
I don't know if I want to repeat myself because I could just direct Yuri
Watch the other
to
one. I will
yesterday.
say, like we said, a great Christmas Day performance at the box office for Color Purple, and then flagging behind in days since.
Uh, Very concerning. It's not very leggy at all. And uh it had very, very large drops throughout the week. And then it didn't perform that well over the long weekend. It made less over 4 days than it did on its opening day.
Not what
Not
you
what you want.
not what you
So,
want, Joyce.
and then I think let me go to Box Office Mojo. I think Anyone But You made more than The Color Purple on New Year's Day. So Anyone But You, very leggy, has a lot of legs, doing very well.
I can't wait. I literally was like, I cannot wait to see it. I still haven't seen it. I know it'll be one of my favorite movies the whole last year, without a doubt.
Yeah. Okay. So Anyone But You on New Year's Day made 2.8 million. Color Purple made 2.6.
Here's what I'll
And that,
say about Color Purple, though. And I do have it in for Best Picture still, because I took out Maestro. The audience scores are off the charts. People love this movie, and that's
yeah,
going to matter, I think. And I think that like we said this yesterday, but just like the headlines that it got from that Christmas Day box office record or near record is enough to overcome if it tops out at like 85 million. Because people are only going to remember that Christmas Day headline. They're not going to remember that it was beat by anyone
that
but you
it's
on New
like
Year's Day.
tanking right now.
Yeah, they're not going to
No,
remember
but
that.
I think like it's um yes, I think the short-term gratification of the Christmas Day headlines will do a lot for it because that is, I do agree, that's what a lot of people remember because most people don't follow box office.
Yeah.
But I think when you do see, like over the weekend, like I think people do see like box office over the weekend. You see like Wonka. It's always about Wonka, right? Because it's number one. Again,
Great
a
movie.
leggy movie.
The best movie.
So, and then it's not The Color Purple leading those headlines. So I think even like subconsciously you could register that it's not in doing well. Or like if I don't even know if anyone's written a headline that it's like not,
No.
kind of disappointing right now. Um but I do think like had it broken out, this is what I said yesterday, had it broken out and became, a huge hit or even a sleeper hit, like it maybe not it like a sleeper hit like Anyone But You, like I think that would have been better for it. That's obvious to say, but I think now it's like easier to see it not getting in because I think a stronger box office would really kind of not lock it in, but just pencil it in more in the Best Picture race because it would seem like this is a thing, this is a juggernaut, and we have to pay attention to it. And
Right.
now because it's not doing as well, then it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind a little bit. But I think it'll always be carried by the performances. So I think it rests on SAG and also
Yeah.
PGI.
Yeah. Uri's other questions. Who do you think should win the visual effects Oscar? Guardians has a pretty good creature effect, but it will be weird for them to win an Oscar, arguably for their worst year. The creator is impressive, but underseen in a box office failure. You have Poor Things winning, I believe, Joyce.
Is this about like what I want to win or what I think will win?
Well, how about both? What do you think is going to win?
Well, I have Poor Things winning, but I wouldn't, like, I think Guardians deserves to win. Is like I don't understand the worst year, like the MCU's worst year.
I think that's what he
But
means.
like Guardians was still great.
Guardians
Like
was great.
why would you punish Guardians for like Ant-Man?
Guardians was great. I still would go Godzilla -1 because
That's good.
I think that's really good. And it's like, especially for what it cost, which is seemingly nothing.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. It looks better. And I like the new Godzilla movies, even though they're completely and like totally opposite of what the theme of Godzilla should be. And I love Monarch. If you watch that, it's so good. Like really good on
No, but you
Apple.
love Monarch.
Love our pals at Apple. It's a great show. So in on Monarch. But anyway, the new Godzilla is great and the effects are awesome. And it looks better than some of the Godzilla movies that we've seen recently, which probably cost 50 times more.
Mhm.
And then Uri's one last one. The Emmys are going to be weird this year. The next ceremony, especially the drama category. Comedy has plenty. The Bear, Only Murders, Abbott, and Hacks. So will Limited, Fargo, The Regime, The Sympathizer, and True Detective. But drama is bleak. Do you have any clue who will benefit from that?
I mean, we've talked somewhat jokingly about the morning show.
Let's go, baby.
It's never made series. This is its time.
It's definitely going to make series. It could end up with like 25 nominations, probably.
Like its entire cast.
Its entire cast,
Yeah,
including guest
actors love it.
actors.
So
It's gonna, and I think it could win. It's such an unhinged season. We
I
started
don't
to
know if
say
I
it.
would say it would win, but
What's it up against? The Crown, season 6?
I don't think The Crown would win.
I guess we'll see. We
I
don't know what.
think yeah, not was it yesterday or was it I think yeah, it was yesterday. Apple tweeted that image of Adam Scott from
Severance.
Severance that set everyone a
And then Ben
Twitter.
Stiller
Don't
was
punish
like,
him.
"We're working on it."
Yeah. He's filming that movie.
Severance should be back this. If Severance is back this year, obviously, that would be a
They've been filming that they started filming that in fall 2022.
correct.
And then obviously the strike. And then there was that, the Puck report about
Oh yeah.
issues.
I mean, I love
BTS.
Ben Stiller is like one of my favorite, not just one of my favorite actors. I actually think he's like an incredible filmmaker. So I'm all in on this show. And like,
Um I mean I could see them Apple holding that for the fall. So like not making the cycle too.
I
You
guess I would
know?
say I think it
I guess it depends on like their post too, because like
depends on if it's
they've
done.
resumed filming now. So but
All right.
yeah, it's like all my the thing I'm actually looking forward to this year of drama is like all my faves are gone. Like I have no Succession or Better Call Saul. So I don't
Finding
really
something new. We could find something new, Joyce. There could be new shows.
I don't need to.
Well, what if there are? I was thinking that yesterday. I was like, man, you know what the great part about the new year is that like stuff I've never even like. If you would have told me earlier, like last year, like oh, you know what movies you're gonna love, Saltburn. I would have been like, I don't even know what that is.
But Saltburn is such a you movie.
But I'm just
Like
saying, like like Beef was a show I not on my radar at all. Like all these great things that came out this year, you're just like, oh wow, like a new thing. You just find it's time is great. I love new things.
yeah, but I'm saying like I don't mind at this point not having
Yeah,
something I
yeah,
love.
right. That's what I'm saying. We'll find
So
something.
yeah, but I don't need to find it. That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
saying
I like not having anything where I'm like, oh, I really wanted to win something. Because like then I just don't care. It's just like you congratulations, you won.
okay. This one is from Gina, who's written us before. Hi, Chris and Joyce. Great to hear from you both. I still have a slew of films to catch up on before the year ends. She emailed us late December, so just to pull back the curtain a little bit, but hopefully she caught up. But this email is primarily in regards to Killers of the Flower Moon and Leonardo DiCaprio. Personal disclaimer, I found myself enjoying the film way more than I expected before it started, despite my nitpicks with some of the uses of violence that I believe some of the critics have addressed upon its release. I don't have the bandwidth to speak on it in detail, but I thought it was important to note. That said, however, I'm personally not buying the things that people have said about Leo's performance with regard to this being his career best. When people were stating that Lily Gladstone and Robert De Niro outshined him in a sense, I wasn't sure what to make of it at first, but after seeing the film, I started to understand where they were coming from after assessing some of the Gladstone and De Niro standout scenes. Many people still have him predicted again at the Oscars because of how popular, well-known he is on top of the performance, but in my eyes, I don't see the real urgency to nominate him again this year, especially since he's the only one in the top 7 with a previous win. I know critics in the industry are two different things, and I always make a mental note of that. But even some of the critic circles managed to nominate Coleman Domingo over him, and even actors lower on the list like Andrew Scott, Barry Keoghan. Even if the critic circles managed to nominate DiCaprio and give Flower Moon the Best Picture, they went with somebody else. With actor, 9 times out of 10 being Cillian Murphy or Paul Giamatti. Right now, I have Murphy, Cooper, Giamatti, Wright, and Coleman Domingo predicted at SAG. And for BAFTA, I think the top 4 is a toss-up between Murphy, Scott, Paul Giamatti, and Cooper, with the possibilities of Barry Keoghan, Franz Rogowski, and Christian Friedel fighting out for the last 2 spots. I think compared to Don't Look Up, this year is way stronger in terms of potential nominees, so I'm not certain that BAFTA would save DiCaprio this time around. And with the attention on Lily Gladstone at the moment, I feel like the Academy would settle with potentially 1 or 2 acting noms for Killers of the Flower Moon in order to pave the way for actors who need the nomination more. If this was pre-Revenant DiCaprio and he was in a similar position that Bradley Cooper is now, I think he would be almost automatically in, but I don't think that's the case. Would love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Happy holidays.
Is this your burner?
No, Gina's just very thoughtful consideration there.
I mean, neither one of us thinks this is Leo's best performance.
So it's I had him out for so long.
And you put him back in.
Yeah. And I put him back in
because you didn't want to lose a bet.
Well, I already lost the bet if he gets in. I bet with David Ehrlich that he would not get in.
David Ehrlich, who called it his best performance.
Which I ragged David Ehrlich for repeatedly. And I don't even think Leo's bad in the movie. It's just like, no. I could think of like, he's so much better in these other movies that I love more.
Yeah, like I don't think he's bad, but I would not call it his best performance.
He's one of our greatest actors of all time. I love him so much. He's like one of my favorite performers. So, but I put him back in, remember, because I guess, I don't know. I couldn't, I didn't feel like the enthusiasm was there for Coleman Domingo for Rustin, who would be my alternate.
Yeah, Rustin is weak.
But I don't think it's Good Night the Lights. That I still think there's an opportunity. Like I have him in 5th right now in my picks, and I think there is a world where he loses it because there's somebody who gains momentum here. And like Gina was saying, I think if Coleman gets in at SAG, that would be, and especially if Leo doesn't get in at SAG, all of a sudden that's like a little bit of momentum. I think the BAFTA note is interesting. If he's not top, would he be a jury save?
No, I don't. He wouldn't be a jury save. I think he would be top 3, but I also don't really think he was a jury save for Don't Look Up. I think that was just a popular vote.
Okay.
You know, like Don't Look Up made picture.
Right.
Just popular vote. So
I still think, like, I do think there's a world where someone like Andrew, like, there's a world for a momentum builder here in the next, like, 2 months. Next month.
I mean, I also have Leo in 5th. I like he would be a total filler nom. He reminds me of Gary Oldman in Mank, like the Afterglow nom. This is not obviously not his first nomination since he won,
right?
But just filler nom, former winner. You know, they're not actually winning the Oscar, but they're in a Best Picture contender. And I mean, that was also the COVID year. But remember, people were doubting Gary getting in. Too.
Yeah.
Mank is kind of like a little bit like Maestro, like people were not really into it, you know?
I was texting some of my friends, tell me what you think of this. I was shocked. People don't like Mank, Joyce, as it turns out.
Oh yeah, like I know a lot of people who don't like, I mean, I wouldn't say they hate Mank, but they don't love Mank.
I was like, I really like that movie. I thought it was great. It's a great time in the movies. And I was texting somebody, a couple of friends yesterday, and they were like, Maestro is this year's Mank. And I was like, Mank was like really great. And they were like, no, it's bad. I was like, oh, okay.
I don't think it's bad, but it's like, I thought it was fine. It was definitely not one of my faves, but I think the reception to it is similar to Maestro's, maybe not as like heightened because like Bradley is the whole different thing,
right?
Too, but yeah, like Gary and Leo are kind of like similar in that point, like, you know, they're like the number 5 in the lineup, basically.
Like I said, I definitely think he can get in, like we're saying. I have him in too. I think Rustin not being as strong as I think it could have been, even regionally, is like hurting Coleman.
Yeah, and also just I feel like it just came and went.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like more people talked about and saw Naiad.
Yeah.
Which also wasn't like, you know, like a huge thing either. And I don't know if I would see Leo losing a spot to Coleman, but I could see him losing to like Andrew Scott because I do think there's more passion for Andrew than there is for Coleman.
That's the thing. And I guess we won't know until we know. But like you're saying, I don't think Leo is a top. I think Leo would not be a top 3 pick for a lot of people in this category. And I think Andrew Scott could be like a number 1, very small but strong, minority, basically.
I feel like if Andrew were competing last year, he would be like Paul Mescal, like and get in
Yeah,
because
for sure.
his top competition was Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick.
I wonder this too. We saw this, like we talked about this yesterday a little bit, but like, does I maybe again, who knows how the algorithm works now on Twitter, and I'm maybe just targeting things that I agree with because it's just feeding me my own thoughts basically at this point, or think I don't know how it works, but Paul Schrader being like, it was tough watching Leo play an idiot for 3 hours. The movie's great, but it's tough watching Leo play an idiot for 3 hours, which is what I would agree with. Uh, does that give? And I saw people being like, "Oh, we're finally allowed to say this," and I'm like, does that give when somebody prominent says something that maybe has been thought of but not openly discussed? Does
And they
that?
felt like they couldn't say it before because they were gonna get dunked on.
But Paul Schrader, who is like an untouchable, beloved figure among film Twitter, says it, and then it's like, okay. Do you think that has any fact? Like, do you think that would open up more people to be like, oh, it is true. Like, and like we're saying, like he's great. I love Leonardo DiCaprio is like great actor, and he's great in the movie. It's just is like not my favorite of his performances.
Like talk enough about it that they just won't vote for him at all.
I just don't think they would. I don't think they would not vote for him at all. But I don't think I still think he's going to be like a 4 or 5 for a lot of people. Maybe that gets him in because it's going to be a big movie and he's going to be on the most ballots, right? That kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like I think he is helped by the fact that he's in a Best Picture nominee
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
As one of the bigger
Biggest.
movies
Yeah.
this
I
year,
mean,
and
without
he's
a
like a
doubt.
huge star. I think like he has his own like supporters anyway
Yeah.
because he's Leo. And I mean, I don't know. I'm sure some people will put him at number 1, but like I can see him, like getting enough like threes.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
have
I
him
just feel like
anyhow.
that 5 is like so far ahead of like 6, 7.
Yeah.
It might be hard
It would
for
need
them.
like a shocking, like for Coleman to make it. I honestly think this, like for Coleman to make it in over Leo or anybody, I guess who else would be at the bottom there? Jeffrey Wright? Is he fought for a lot of people, I guess?
I have Jeffrey in 4th.
For Coleman to make it in over either Jeffrey or Leo, it would be like he has to get in at SAG and then somehow win SAG. And that would be the momentum I think would carry him through from that. He
Um,
like people love him. Like he's a beloved figure.
but I don't even have him getting it at SAG. So just because I feel like, you know, Rustin was just very
Yeah.
muted.
Yeah. Not for Barack
Even though
Obama. It was
it's
one
a
of
it's
his.
a Netflix movie and like it's a very baity role for him.
I do have him in at SAG, I believe. And I think I have Leo out at SAG. Maybe I don't because that would, do I have that? Let's see. Yeah, I do. I have him in at SAG and Leo out.
Um, I mean, well, the person that Film Twitter really wants in is Zac Efron, who I don't think.
And we've talked about that yesterday. It seems like a tough road to haul, but maybe, who knows?
I think it's just like maybe a little too late. I don't know. It'll be cool if he could get into SAG, but I don't know.
I have him again. We'll talk about this next week, but I have it in an ensemble, but I don't have him in individually. Speaking of SAG, Joyce, here's another email. This one's from Guillermo. Hi guys, wishing you a happy new year. Uh, this is going with what we were just talking about. Which acting contenders need the SAG nomination the most? I mean, to get in at the Oscars. My options are Charles Melton, Emily Blunt, Annette Bening, Fantasia, Margot Robbie, Jodie Foster, Willem Dafoe, America Ferrara, Greta Lee, and Andrew Scott. All of them feel on the bubble to me. Could go either way. Who else do you think needs SAG? And who will be the Amy Adams arrival snub at the Oscars this year?
That's a lot of people, but
Why don't we go through one at a time, I guess?
um Okay.
We could rank them one to on a 10, absolutely needs it. One, pretty much fine. It wouldn't matter. How about that? That's the scale. Charles Melton. I feel like he's towards the back. He's fine to me.
I think he has like enough like buzz that he it would obviously help to get it, but I don't know how much it would really hurt him not to get it.
Same.
I don't know. I feel like he's like in flux anyway at the Oscars, so I don't know. I know some people are very confident in getting in at the Oscars.
I think he'll get in the Oscars. I think he will get in at SAG because of the Netflix of it all, and like people really like the performance.
I think I have all three May December people getting in at SAG.
Very possible. Emily Blunt, I feel like
I don't think she needs SAG.
I don't either.
Like
Probably
I can
get.
actually see her getting SAG and getting snubbed at the Oscars more.
Annette
So
Bening, I think definitely needs SAG.
she needs SAG. All of the fringe Best Actress people need SAG.
So Annette Bening, Fantasia, Margot Robbie, and Greta Lee all need to get in at SAG.
Yeah. Well, with Margot, I like she's already like assumed like predicted to get SAG. Like it wouldn't be surprising if she got in at SAG, you know, like she's expected. But I also don't think like that would secure her Oscar slot either.
Right.
Whereas the other people, I think they do need SAG to help their case.
I agree. Jodie Foster.
Um, I don't really think so. I don't know. It's because I feel like she has kind of done okay by herself with like critics awards too, like without Annette. Like she shows up places without Annette.
I still am not sure I have her in at the Oscars when push comes to shove.
Oh yeah, like I don't think she's locked in at the Oscars, but I don't know. Like she can get the SAG nomination and still miss the Oscars, you know.
And same with America Ferrara, who I think will get a SAG nomination and could miss the Oscars.
But I think her getting in would really um push her up in like I think it's the same, but like I think that would really like make her much more viable to get a slot in the Oscars.
My sense to me, and as someone who's had her in and toyed with moving her into the Oscars and had her in at the Oscars, I think she still hasn't gotten like if she gets this, it would be like this would like legitimize the idea that she is an Oscar contender more so than she even is now.
Yeah, I mean, so she missed the Globes
Right.
and she got Critics' Choice, so that's basically it of the televised. So, well, she's getting the See Her award too at Critics' Choice. She's campaigning a
Famously,
lot.
yeah, she is, and I do think, I mean, based on her like past TV work and her history in the industry as like a long time actor who has seemingly worked with a lot of different people. That's why I have her getting in at SAG. I think all of that will help her get
Yeah,
in.
like I think she makes a lot of sense to get in at SAG and also be a SAG only nominee, but I can also see her getting at the Oscars without SAG, just
Yeah.
as a coattail.
And then a couple of the guys, Willem Dafoe and Andrew Scott. I would say Andrew Scott, if he gets a SAG nomination, I think would be really set up well to get
Yeah.
into the Oscars. Because
Willem does not need SAG.
no.
So
Um, let's see. Speaking of SAG, this one's from Daniel. Actually goes to what you were saying here about May December. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Loving the award season content as always. Do you think Natalie Portman has a chance at scoring a Best Actress nomination at the SAG Awards? Emma, Lily, Carrie, and Margot all feel quite safe, though I would argue that the final slot is up for grabs. Neither Sandra nor Greta feel very likely here, and while Annette and Fantasia feel more traditional more traditional in quotes SAG nominees, I can easily see both missing. May December received a nice boost from the Golden Globes and has been performing rather well with critics' troops. And as Joyce mentioned recently, SAG loves Netflix. I guess my main concern would be that this current level of passion for May December dwindles during the lead up to the SAG nominations. But honestly, it seems like many people love this movie and its three central performances. Natalie's respected within the industry, and her performance will surely appeal to actors. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I still have her in at SAG.
So we'll do our SAG picks next week, obviously.
But uh yeah, I think, May, December was, I guess you call it a hit. Yeah. Like I think it exceeded people's expectations when it premiered on Netflix. And it was very buzzy. Um and yeah, I think she can get in there, and she plays an actress.
Here's my hot take for
It's that
now.
monologue.
Let me ask you this. Of the three Netflix actresses in terms of SAG, how would you rank Natalie, Annette, and Carrie?
In terms of their likelihood of getting in.
Yes.
Um,
I think I think
I
most
think,
people would say Carrie first.
yeah, and I think I would still put her first just because the role is more traditional and emotional, you know? And then Natalie, and then Annette.
I still have Carrie in, but I kind of and
Are you
I
gonna
think
drop her?
well I might because I think Annette is could get I think this is like a prime Annette spot because the movie is a Netflix movie that was I think probably pretty easy to watch and while not as well watched as like Leave the World Behind or any of their bigger hits, like I think it was a watchable movie and I think it's just like a classic SAG nomination for her, like a
Oh yeah, no,
transformative.
I think she's in there.
And I think Natalie
Hot.
could get an over Carrie personally, but I'm not ready to do that just yet. But I really think she could, unless all three of them get in like Margot misses. But I don't
I don't
know.
think all three of them would get in, but I could see two of them getting in.
I think the idea that May December is way more actor friendly helps probably. And like you said,
I
she has
also
that
think it's
great
just
monologue.
more liked than the other two movies.
And that's why I was like Carrie. But the other thing is that Carrie is like beloved. I feel like actors love Carrie Mulligan and they love her performance in the movie, no matter what they
Well,
think of the
that's
movie.
why I think, and also her role, like Emily Blunt was crying to her on the plane about her performance. So,
David Krumholtz, do you follow him on Twitter? He tweeted
oh,
yesterday.
you saw his Oscar picks? Yeah.
I mean, good for him, Oppenheimer. Hell yeah, he should get nominated for. Somebody should have nominated him for supporting actor, but they didn't, which is a fail.
He didn't predict himself to win.
No, but he did predict Carey Mulligan to win. So I just think she'll get in, and like actors really do love her. But I think Annette would probably get in over um, Natalie personally, unless they all get into Margot misses.
I don't think it'll be all like three Netflix ladies. I think they'll get two, and then you pick the two you
Yeah.
want. So
This one's from Steve. And then we'll do one. Then we're going to do some sports lightning round sports questions. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Long time listener, but haven't emailed since last March. I get so overwhelmed with questions each week. And when it comes time to put keys to email, I forget what I was going to ask. LOL. Here are two different questions. First, let's discuss The Holdovers. This is by far one of my top 3 movies of the year. I have seen it 3 times. It is head and shoulders above Coda and certainly Green Book, 2 past winners with the closest vibe to The Holdovers. I would love to think it has a chance at Best Picture, but this being such a strong year, I don't see it happening. It's frustrating because it should have been bigger. It should have been bigger, had bigger box office receipts, excuse me. Do you think the weird rollout, which seems like it wasn't properly advertised as the best holiday movie in years, hurt its chances at a Best Picture win? Also, we hear a lot about Paul and Divine, who definitely deserve the accolades, but why do you think we haven't heard as much for Dominic? I'm going to get out on a limb and say his performance might be the strongest of the 3. It's frustrating that new actors never get recognition they deserve, whereas I feel new actresses, in quotes, Gabourey Sidibe, Elliot Page, Gobanjane Wallace have all been recognized. If you want my shocking opinion, I think Carrie Preston deserves a nod for supporting. Then he has another question, which I guess we could get. I'll just read the rest, and then we could talk about the holdovers. With all that said, my last question is: you discuss a lot about 2006, 2007 being the best years in movies since the new millennium. Where do you think 2023 stands? Top 3, top 5? Personally, I think it's the best year in at least the past decade. Thank you for always for your knowledge. I look forward to each and every episode. That's from Steve.
Okay. So the holdovers. Well, it is way better than Coda and Green Book.
It's way better than Green Book.
And it's not even one of my faves of the year. I like it just fine, but it's way better than both of them. I have it in second in Best Picture.
You do. You're pretty bullish on it.
You know what? I mean, when we did our early predictions in March, I had the holdovers and Alexander Payne. So
I'm not the first person to make this comp, but I do feel like the holdovers is as good as it gets to the Titanic of Oppenheimer.
so it'll win 2 acting Oscars.
I think it will. I think Paul has a really, really, really great shot at winning. It depends on what happens. Like we said, like SAG, like
I mean,
there's a
you at
lot of
one point
ways.
weren't even predicting Paul.
I know. That's because I was biased against the movie, but I watched it again. He's really good in it. And people love Paul Giamatti. How can you not love Paul Giamatti? Yeah, I think it could
I
win
don't think like
2
the
acting Oscars.
rollout, I mean, it opened in October, like limited. I I mean, people were upset when I went to VOD in November, and now it's obviously streaming on Peacock.
It
So
when I see people get upset about that stuff, I think they're just trapped in a time that doesn't exist anymore. And you know me, I love the past, love my physical media, love to think of a time when people would go to the movies. And maybe 15 years ago, The Holdovers is going to be out in theaters for 4 months and make like $110 million by the time by the time the Oscars are over, it would be like 100 million grosser. But people aren't going to go see that kind of movie in the theater. They're just not. They're going to wait for it to watch it at home. And it's actually a movie that plays really well at home. There's no, like, you have no reason. It's not like an Oppenheimer. You got to run out and see it. This is like an
yeah,
easy
like
movie to
the
watch.
issue is more that people have been conditioned, and also it's obviously because of COVID too.
Yeah.
Like they've been conditioned to watch certain things at home, and also movies are expensive.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm like,
um,
to me, it's like, I actually think the rollout is perfect. It got the theatrical, it was out October, November, and now it's holiday week, and you could have rented it on VOD Christmas night if you wanted to. That's what I did. Or you just wait to watch it on Peacock like 4 days later.
yeah, people were also like, they should have dropped that on the 22nd so you could watch with your families over Christmas.
Not if you want that paper. They want that money.
So, I mean, I guess you could say, like Focus could have waited until January too. Like, because like last year they waited until January to drop Tar on Peacock. So, but yeah, I think the rollout was fine. I think it's found like its audience, it has its fans, and it has good word of mouth. And I don't know if it needed to be advertised as the holiday movie of the season.
I could be misremembering because he's done a lot of interviews, but I actually thought I saw Alexander Payne being like, I don't like that. Didn't he say that? Like, was he like,
Oh,
why do
and like
people
someone
think it's...
called it like a Christmas movie.
I'm Googling this
Right.
now.
But
Anyway,
I like I mean, like it is a Christmas movie, but I don't think it needed to be advertised as one because I think that also sets up expectations for it
right.
too.
In a new
So,
interview with Vanity Fair, Payne said he was always a little surprised about the word cozy being applied to the film in reviews and
oh
marketing.
yeah, that was cozy.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like a cozy movie or a warm hug or putting a sweater on a cold day and drinking a hot cocoa. Part of that nauseates me a little bit, he said. I thought I was just making a decent movie about people. Well, you're the first person I'm getting to ask. What is it that felt cozy to you or warm? Is it the texture of the film or the quality of the human relations presented? What was it? We can talk about 2 things. One of the things One is this quality that it has, perhaps, that we can pierce our natural assumptions about others, given new knowledge that everybody's got a story. Blah 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 blah. I wouldn't necessarily use the word cozy though. So
Yeah, I wouldn't call it cozy either. That's kind of what I like about it because I love like bittersweet, like prickly people.
yeah,
And I kind of love, it's not a unhappy ending, but it's not like a neatly tied up with a bow ending either.
no,
So,
I think it's great because none of the characters actually change, but
mhm.
they do gain a new perspective on others.
Yes, and like it's just about this time period in their lives and they go their separate ways
Like
after.
like Paul Giamatti's character is still an asshole,
Mhm.
but he has now been warmed to the idea that at least one or two other people on Earth think of him as a nicer human being or appreciate his asshole qualities, whereas he previously maybe didn't think that anybody did.
Yeah, and it's just like we all have experienced that or have people come in our lives like that. And then you could like think, past this movie, it's like they might never see each other again, but that's fine. And that's what I like about it.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't think it needed to be advertised as a Christmas movie.
No.
It's
Um,
not, it's just set at Christmas, that's all.
and
But
in terms of Dominic, I do think I think if he gets nominated at SAG, which I'm actually predicting now, um, I think there will be a renewed push for him to maybe get in at the Oscars. And if the movie is as beloved as we think it is, it's very possible.
he needs to pull a Lucas Hedges because he got in at SAG and then got the Oscar
Yeah, I mean, if he gets in at SAG, that changes the whole trajectory of his award season from just breakthrough contender to like legitimate threat to an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, like it's it's really disappointing how he has not shown up in supporting a lot with like critics groups too. So it feels like they chose Charles as like the young guy, even though they're 10 years apart. But
It does for
compared to
whatever
the other people
reason.
in the category.
For whatever reason, it feels like in terms of the holdovers, it was decided that Devon Joy Randolph obviously is going to win everything. That Paul would get nominated, and that Dominic was happy to be here.
Yeah, it's like, his first role, great job, breakthrough here and there.
He is really great in it. They're
He
all
is really,
really good.
and it's a co-lead. Like he's, obviously frauded and supporting.
Sure.
Fine. But yeah, yeah, he's really good. So uh, yeah, I would feel better about him getting an Oscar nomination if he made SAG.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. And then in terms of the movie year, Joyce. So 2006, 2007. I think we've said so. 99 is obviously
2007
like
is great. Well, 99 is the best.
99 is the best, but 2007 is probably better. And we said that's got the top four movies that year. I would say were what? There Will Be Blood, No Country, Zodiac, and Michael Clayton. I mean, that's like a
Well, when Tom
crazy.
Wilkinson died, I was like, should I watch Michael Clayton again?
That's a crazy. Those are four of the greatest movies I'd say in the last like 25
I know.
years, all in the same.
I also I really like 2019. I don't know. I don't think this year is as good as 2019 or 2023 is as
So
good as that.
I immediately thought of this as well. 2019 to me was like a great year, but I was looking at the list. 2019 had Avengers Endgame, big movie wise, right? Like there were some good big movies, I would say. And it had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, Uncut Gems, Hustlers, Us. These are like Little Women, Knives Out, like top movies, right? But I do wonder depth wise, I actually think this year maybe had more good movies. That was my hot take. I think the highs of 2019 were higher than this year, but I think in terms of overall quality, this year might have been better.
Mm, maybe. I feel like I can't judge this year for another couple more years. You need time.
You do. I mean, the best picture nominees that year were Parasite, Ford vs. Ferrari, Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Some great movies there that I didn't even mention. Irishman and Marriage Story as well.
It's, I mean, great lineup. That like 2019 was the last good year, really.
I actually think 2019 was the last good year for movies as well. But this year has me contemplating whether it could be a contender. Like I said, I just think the highs of this year were not as high as that year. But like, man, a lot
Oh,
of great
I mean,
movies
like
this
I
year.
think this year has really great movies. I think it's like just too soon to declare it
Yeah.
the best,
I
which
I
is
mean,
what everyone wants to do.
I
It's
will say
like,
this. It's definitely the best year since 2019. I would
oh
have
yes,
no
easily.
problem saying that.
It's kind of like how I've said before, we should hand out Oscars like 5 years later.
We should just start doing that. Should be a new bit we do. Five
It's
years
like
later,
so you're like
Oscars.
you're not in the moment. You have time to reflect on it.
Joyce, what
So
if we did that this summer? Just did 5 years later Oscars.
5 years later, Oscars.
It'd be so much fun. Uh, that could be a thing. Let's put a button on that. That would be a good one. And then we have now a bunch of sports questions. Joyce, I forget who was it. David yesterday.
David is tapping out right now.
David, close tab, but thank you for listening. This one is from Jane, who writes, "Happy Olympics year to all who celebrate."
Oh, thank you, Jane. I do celebrate.
Joyce, what are you most looking forward to at this year's summer games?
Well, swimming and gymnastics are my faves. I
Mhm.
get very sad when, especially when swimming ends, because that's the first week. I'm not really as into track and field because that's the
Okay.
second week,
Okay.
but I love swimming. I mean, I watch a lot of the sports. Like I would say most of them. There's a lot of summer sports. It's much more easy to keep track of winter ones because there's fewer sports.
Mhm.
Obviously, tennis. No, Nole, he's just missing Olympic gold, so he wants that
Mhm.
this year. So, and yeah, and then like with it in Paris, tennis will be at Roland Garros, so then it'll be on clay. So Rafa can win another gold on his backyard.
Okay.
So
Where are
yeah,
the Olympics this year?
in Paris. Oh my God,
And
what's
when
wrong
is
with
it?
you? It starts July 26th.
Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, this one is from Mark, who writes, "In light of the Dodgers signing both Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto, I'm beginning to think that baseball is simply too broken. Even with the Mets going crazy for the last few years, this feels somehow different. More than ever, MLB needs a salary cap and a salary floor. Agree or disagree?"
How much did I spend on Yamamoto?
325 million plus a
Right.
50 million signing bonus plus like another hosting fee or something.
And then he has like an opt out too.
I think so. It's a
Yeah.
completely clown car.
Right. And like
Um,
the Mets offered him like 250, right?
no, the Mets offered him the same thing, 325.
Oh, we did.
Yankees
And
offered
then
him
but how much did the
three,
Yankees offer him?
300.
Okay. Oh,
I
right,
don't
because we offered him more.
right. I don't think there will ever be a salary cap or floor in baseball
No.
because I don't think the union would ever allow it either. So that is never going to happen. And I don't think it's too broken because the fact is these teams don't win. Like I have no doubt the Dodgers will not win a World Series. When it's not even crossing my mind that they would win.
Well, they're both these two chronically injured too.
Yeah,
So,
I'm like,
okay.
I don't know. Their rotation and this guy Yamamoto, I wanted him for the Mets. So I'd be like, if it was the Mets, I'd be like, this is great, can't wait. But I'm like, he's never pitched in major leagues. Glass now they got from the Rays. He's always injured. I don't know. I'm not. Not. I don't think baseball's broken. I think the results on the field. That's why I love it. You play the games to win, and just because you win the offseason doesn't mean you win the World Series.
That's why sports are great because you
Yeah.
still gotta lace them up and go out and play.
Joyce, I
So,
had one more question. Actually, I got on text from a buddy of mine. He's a loyal listener. His name is John. I'm not making this up.
right now.
No, it's the other day and I forgot. So I wanna hear. He goes, I have a question. How stuck are we going to be in this pre-awareness bubble where remakes, IP universes, and biopics dominate so much? You probably disagree, but I hate the Mattel studio and the inevitable Barbie clones. Or another way of putting it, when will the original screenplay movie renaissance happen? I liked Anatomy of a Fall and glad to hear you and Joyce talk up Milo. That's from my friend John.
We get questions by text now. I love it.
If you know me, I guess you can text.
No one has texted me questions, so no one I know listens to us. Um, so John hates IP, basically.
He wants to know, yeah, he wants to go back to when there was, movies for
Yeah, original ideas. Yeah, I get it. I support that. So,
it's tough because like Barbie and Oppenheimer are IP, obviously, like we've talked about. There's not really non-IP anymore.
I mean, Barbie is more IP than Oppenheimer
Yeah,
because like theoretically Nolan could have made a movie about Oppenheimer not using a book. He could have just done research himself
right.
and written that. So, but um yeah, I think it's just kind of wanting the short-term reward of the awareness because you want to make money in butts and seats, and people have such short attention spans right now,
Hmm.
especially the kids.
Hmm.
So you want to get their attention with something they recognize,
I think
like
that's the
Barbie.
problem.
Yeah. So it's like it's harder to sell an original idea. It's like this you see this issue or you've seen this issue a lot with TV too, and a lot of that is original ideas too. But even with like IP shows, it's people don't want to get invested in a show unless they know it's coming back because they're like, I don't want to watch the
Hmm.
show that's canceled or it hasn't been renewed yet.
I I feel
You
like,
know?
yeah, you're right. I feel like the issue is less now everything is IP and more like we need filmmakers like Greta Gerwig, Christopher Nolan, or whoever you actually like as a filmmaker, right? Like to come in and be able to make this as alive and original in terms of what they're doing as possible. You know what I mean? Like I think that is where like I don't think we're gonna go back to the 90s or whatever where or the 80s where it's like Rain Man was the biggest movie of the year. That's like never happening again. But
Because that was also still like pre-internet and monoculture,
right.
like everyone was paying attention to the same thing.
And and if you think about the Marvel movies when Marvel was like dominating, and obviously this is I think something that maybe isn't getting as maybe people are talking about this, but I guess when the movies were great, it was because they had like really great filmmakers doing good stuff. Like Black Panther rules because like Ryan Coogler is like a great director and was allowed to do like a great Black Panther movie basically. And like Iron Man 3 is awesome because like Shane Black was like, here I am making a Shane Black movie in Iron Man.
I don't even think it's that. I think like for the Infinity Saga, they just had it more planned out, like they knew where they were going. They were more organized with it. And I think what really, I wouldn't say kill it, but what really hurt it right now was the expansion to TV shows on Disney Plus.
I mean, I think that's true, but I guess I would say like if you think about the recent run of Marvel movies, none of the like they have really nice good directors that I was like excited about them, but they all the movies feel exactly the same. And I didn't get the sense that they did feel the same when it was like in its heyday a few years ago. Like there was all these
Well, I
movies feel
think that's also because like now they're in a new saga, and they're not as organized and Kevin has a lot of different storylines and different things they have to tie together. And like you hear them talk about like, oh, like he doesn't actually care, like told me to write this or like the screenwriters do have to write in something that hasn't even been released yet in another movie.
right.
There's just a lot more going on right now. And obviously they lost Chadwick Boseman. I think the trajectory of, phase 5 and 6 would be a lot different too. Um, but yeah, and then, now obviously like in the IP sense, everyone's like, oh, the superhero movies are dead, like in 2023, because a lot of them flopped. And I don't think like they're dead, but I think there is like a little bit of a burnout, you
I think
know?
that like I think we'll have the comeback narrative though by the end. Like there's not a lot this year planned.
No.
Deadpool is the only Marvel movie. And I think by the time they come back around with like whatever the next big run of movies is, where it's like Captain America 4 or whatever they're gonna do, those will end up I think there'll be like an enthusiasm for those that hasn't been there because it's been out of our lives for a while. And I do think Deadpool will do pretty well. I'd be shocked if it didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think like IP will always be there and they will always invest in IP. I think it's just people just lack patience right now. And I mean, like everybody, like the audience and then the studio heads too,
Right.
because people want instant gratification and, instant coins. They want to get that bag. And sometimes you can't get the bag right away.
Joyce, I think we'll wrap up there because this has been one of our longest episodes ever. I feel like we're in a double Belfast, maybe. Who knows?
Double Belfast is one Oppenheimer.
I don't think we're at 3 hours, but we're definitely probably close to 2. So we'll wrap up here and we'll be back on Sunday night after the Globes.
Oh God. I
Can't
guess we
wait.
also have to do SAG predictions there too, because SAG is on Wednesday.
Wow. We could do that, or we could do a separate SAG one the next day, maybe. We'll talk about this offline.
We have a lot to do because we have to do Emmy predictions too.
That's true. Oh boy. Okay. Well, talk to you then, Joyce. Bye.